Your Excellency Maria del Carmen, the President of the 20th session of the High Level Committee, Sri Lanka congratulates Madam President and the members of the Bureau on your election to lead the 20th session of the High Level Committee. I thank the Administrator of the United Nations Development Programme for convening this session this year. My delegation also aligns itself with the statement delivered by the distinguished representative of the Republic of Guinea on behalf of the Group of 77 and China. Madam President, South-South cooperation represents the principles of solidarity and acting for the common good of the South by its own people and countries, contributing to the national development agendas and the internationally agreed development goals, including the Sustainable Development Goals. It should be driven by the national ownership and independence, equality, non-conditionality, non-interference in domestic affairs, and mutual benefit, while respecting the national sovereignty of the developing countries. Developing countries, madam, today face multiple interlinked macroeconomic, financial, climate, and development challenges. South-South cooperation is an important element for developing countries to meet these challenges, individually and collectively, and in multilateral North-South dialogue and global governance. Excellencies, our hard-won development goals have been reversed due to the COVID pandemic, exacerbating the pre-existing vulnerabilities of the global South. The inequalities in the areas of the digital divide, trade, and gaps in the access to education and healthcare facilities, and vulnerability to external shocks have been severely exposed with the pandemic. Now, it is in this context, it is pivotal that the High Level Committee, which is a key policy-making body of the South-South cooperation in the United Nations system, explores partnerships and new directions for cooperation to overcome these challenges through technological transfer, technical assistance, negotiations on equal status, and the sharing of lessons learned, expertise, and skills. We hope that this session will be an opportunity to facilitate further discussions on these matters, and we welcome the thematic discussion scheduled for tomorrow, which in our view is very timely. Excellencies, the world warrants urgent action by stakeholders at all levels to mitigate the health, economic, and social consequences arising from the pandemic and formulate strategies to build back better. Time and again, South-South cooperation, especially the initiatives in health and related areas, have offered notable solutions to these shared challenges. Sri Lanka commends the efforts of China and India to mobilize resources for a sustained health response to the pandemic in Sri Lanka through provisions of vaccines, personal protective equipment, and medical assistance. Sri Lanka also reiterates the significance of triangular cooperation and partnerships by many developed countries and multilateral organizations in the pandemic response. Madam President, as the region of Asia continues to be the epicenter of economic South-South cooperation, Sri Lanka is committed to regular strategic partnerships, including the initiatives by the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SAARC. The SAARC region comprises of over 21% of the world's population, which remains vulnerable towards COVID-19. Sri Lanka has contributed US $5 million to the SAARC COVID-19 Emergency Fund, which is an initiative to meet the immediate cost to combat the pandemic in the region. Subsequently, the health professionals and trade officials of the region have also been contributing to this initiative, sharing the technical expertise and the lessons learned. As we collectively recover better, it is imperative to do so in a stronger, cleaner, greener, and more resilient manner. Sri Lanka has implemented its national adaptation plan for climate change to achieve our objectives of sustainable development through appropriate, timely measures of adaptation to ensure a secure future for our citizens by minimizing the impacts of climate change on human life, ecosystems, national assets, and the economy. Sri Lanka is pleased to share its experience on mangrove conservation that promotes economic prosperity in coastal communities such as small fishing villages, fostering sustainable livelihoods that are environmentally resilient and sequestering carbon. Madam President, finally, Sri Lanka acknowledges the role of the United Nations Office of the South South Cooperation and the Secretary General's envoy on South South cooperation. We also believe in the potential of this committee to facilitate and focus on tangible outcomes and their continuous review and monitoring. Towards this end, we highlight the necessity to convene the high level committee on a biennial basis. In conclusion, Madam President, Sri Lanka reaffirms its commitment to the implementation of BAPA plus 40 the outcome document, which also facilitates to overcome our common challenges in strategizing for the implementation of the 2030 agenda. My delegation looks forward to the deliberations of this session. Thank you, ma'am.
I thank the distinguished representative of Sri Lanka for the statement